Hello, everyone. I'm Andrea Fujii. Victory couldn't have come at a better time for Hillary Clinton. She crushed rival Bernie Sanders in the South Carolina primary. With nearly all precincts reporting, Clinton scored 73% of the vote. That gives her 39 delegates. Sanders won 26% of the vote, locking in 14 delegates. Clinton's double-digit lead going into South Carolina was nowhere near as wide as the final result. KCAL 9 political reporter Dave Bryan shows us how women and blacks propelled Clinton to victory tonight. Dave?
Not much doubt on this one. I mean, this was never a question. There wasn't much doubt going into the South Carolina Democratic primary that Hillary Clinton would win. But let's face it, this was a rout. And that could have an impact on Super Tuesday, with the most delegates up for grabs on a single primary day.
Thank you so much, South Carolina.
Hillary Clinton's landslide victory of historic proportions in South Carolina couldn't have come at a better time for her. Just 3 days before the massive Super Tuesday Democrat contests in nearly a dozen states. And Clinton made it clear the race is on now.
And tomorrow, this campaign goes national. We are going to compete for every vote in every state. We are not taking anything, and we're not taking anyone for granted.
She has Super Tuesday campaign stops scheduled in Tennessee, Arkansas, and Virginia after campaigning Saturday in Alabama. At times, her victory speech sounded more like a rehearsal for a general election campaign against Donald Trump and his wall.
Instead of building walls, we need to be tearing down barriers.
After taking a pounding in the South Carolina primary, Bernie Sanders headlined a campaign rally in Rochester, Minnesota, a state where he trailed Clinton by 34 points in a poll last month, but now says if he can win the state on Super Tuesday, it would give him a path to victory.
Now, we can do great things in America when we do not allow people like Donald Trump and some of his friends to divide us up. I look forward very much, boy, it would make me so happy, to have the opportunity to run against Donald Trump.
In addition to Minnesota, Sanders' Super Tuesday wish list also includes Vermont and Colorado, states he'll be visiting in the next couple of days. Sanders started the day in Texas, where he drew a crowd of about 10,000. Meanwhile, in the Republican presidential campaign, the war of insults continued, led by Trump and challenger Marco Rubio.
He couldn't get elected dog catcher in Florida.
He's flying around on Air Force One.
And the level of discourse deteriorated from there.
Rubio, total lightweight, and little mouth on him. Bing, bing, bing.
Donald Trump, a con artist, will never get control of this party.
I see him starting to sweat. Thank God he has really large ears, the biggest ears I've ever seen, because they were protecting him.
The guy with the worst spray tan in America is attacking me for putting on makeup. Donald Trump likes to sue people. He should sue whoever did that to his face.
Coming to Trump's support is New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who appears to be bucking for a spot on the Trump ticket in the fall.
It is my honor and privilege to introduce to you the next president of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
But CBS News reports some other Republicans in Washington are still desperately trying to stop Trump, like Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who's working on a backup plan, reportedly, under which GOP lawmakers could break with Trump in a general election campaign. The third-tier Republican contender, Ted Cruz, told John Dickerson on Face the Nation that Trump's taxes could be his Achilles heel, and he still hasn't set a date to release them.
Listen, if there's a problem in his taxes, the voters have a right to know, because come September, October, the general election, folks in the media are going to make a heyday about any problems in his taxes, and I think primary voters have a right to know.
Now, at one of the Trump rallies today, as we saw on that report, Chris Christie was introducing Donald Trump. What you didn't see, though, was that Christie was blasting Marco Rubio, sounding very much like a vice presidential running mate protecting his presidential ticket mate. Of course, it's way too early to be speculating on such matters, but it will be interesting to see what happens if Trump wins the nomination.
And Dave, these insults are just getting so out of control. Do you think Tuesday is really the reason why the GOP race has gotten so nasty, because so much is at stake?
There's no question about it. Super Tuesday is the big kahuna of primaries in America. The most number of delegates up for grabs on a single day. In fact, on Super Tuesday, almost 600 Republican delegates will be designated. That's almost half right there in one day, almost half what a candidate would need to win the nomination. And the biggest state of all is Texas with 155 delegates. Well, that just happens to be Ted Cruz's state. A recent poll showed he's leading there by double digits, but Trump is fighting all the way. And the other candidates, particularly Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz, feel they have got to win some of these states to slow down Donald Trump. Otherwise, it may be history.
Well, Tuesday will be very telling. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.